Jannik Sinner reaches an agreement with WADA and receives a 3-month doping ban. This Saturday, it was announced that Jannik Sinner, the world number 1 and recent 2-time Australian Open champion, has reached an agreement to settle his high-profile doping case after testing positive for clostebol last March. The World Anti-Doping Agency, which initially sought a suspension of 1 or 2 years, agreed with the Italian on a 3-month ban, effective immediately. The organization had scheduled a hearing before the Court of Arbitration for Sport to push for a harsher sanction for Sinner after the International Tennis Integrity Agency had initially imposed only a 96-hour effective suspension. This came after the Italian successfully appealed his provisional suspension twice following 2 positive tests for clostebol. Sinner was able to prove that the clostebol entered his system accidentally after his physiotherapist treated a cut on his hand with the substance and then performed a massage without sterile gloves. WADA accepts that Mr. Sinner had no intention of cheating and that his exposure to clostebol did not provide any performance benefit. It occurred without his knowledge as a result of the negligence of his team members. However, under the code and in light of CAS precedents, an athlete is responsible for the negligence of their team. Based on the unique set of facts in this case, a 3-month sanction is an appropriate outcome, reads the agency's statement, which immediately withdrew the charges from the CAS. This case had been hanging over me for almost a year, and the process still had a long way to go, with a decision possibly not coming until the end of the year. I have always accepted that I am responsible for my team and understand that WADA's strict rules are an important protection for the sport I love. On that basis, I have accepted WADA's offer to resolve these proceedings with a 3-month sanction, Sinner added in a public statement. The world number 1 suspension will run from February 9th, the date of the agreement, until May 4th, just in time to compete in the Masters 1000 in Rome, on home soil. Sinner breaks the silence after doping ban. The Italian tennis player released a statement following his 3-month suspension for doping. He will not be able to compete until May. I am responsible for my team, said the athlete. Jannik Sinner issued a statement following the officialization of his 3-month doping ban. The Italian addressed the suspension and affirmed that he is responsible for his team. The world number 1 accepted a 3-month suspension agreement with the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, from February 9th to May 4th, after testing positive for clostebol in Indian Wells in March 2024. With this sanction, the Italian will miss the Sunshine Double, Monte Carlo, and Madrid, returning for the Masters 1000 in Rome. The statement: I have always accepted that I am responsible for my team and realize that WADA's strict rules are an important protection for the sport I love. On this basis, I have accepted the offer to resolve this procedure with a 3-month sanction, Sinner explained. According to the athlete, the positive test resulted from a massage he received from his physio, who was not wearing gloves while treating a cut on his finger with medication containing the banned substance. He later acknowledged his partial responsibility for the mistakes made by his team. It is worth noting that the International Tennis Integrity Agency, ITIA, had declared his innocence before WADA reopened the case and agreed on the sanction with the player. This case has been hanging over me for almost a year. Regarding WADA, Sinner stated, they concluded that I had no intent and gained no competitive advantage from the 2 positive results detected in my system. This case has been hanging over me for almost a year, and the process still had a long way to go, with a decision possibly not coming until the end of the year, he added, explaining why he chose to settle rather than prolong the case. The case, after a thorough investigation by the ISHA, including advice from WADA-accredited laboratories, we were satisfied that the player had identified the source of the banned substance and that the violation was unintentional. Today's outcome supports this finding, reads the ITF statement. The ISHA referred the matter to an independent panel, which determined no fault or negligence and, therefore, no suspension based on the facts and their application of the rules. The 3-month result was only possible through an agreement between WADA and the player, the note states. A tennis icon defends Jannik Sinner, he did nothing. Feliciano Lopez directly responded to Stan Wawrinka and indirectly to all those who criticized the 3-month ban for the world number 1. The resolution of the Sinner case has sent shockwaves through the tennis world, triggering reactions to one of the most high-profile doping cases in racket sports history. Current icons like Nick Kyrgios and Stan Wawrinka have not hesitated to criticize WADA's decision. The Australian and the Swiss expressed their thoughts on social media, stating, "It's a sad day for tennis and this is no longer a clean sport." The prevailing sentiment is that the suspension is too lenient, especially considering that WADA initially aimed for a ban of 1 to 2 years for the world number 1. However, a significant figure in Spanish tennis, Feliciano Lopez, surprised many by defending Sinner on social media. Feliciano directly responded to Wawrinka's message, in which he questioned tennis's transparency. Yes, Stan. It is very clear that he did nothing to enhance his performance, that has been proven. What Sinner will miss due to his ban and how it affects Alcaraz in the race for number 1. Jannik Sinner's doping ban has rocked the tennis world this Saturday. The Italian reached an agreement with WADA to accept a 3-month suspension, avoiding the April hearing where he risked being sidelined for 1 to 2 years. As a result, Sinner will not compete until May 4, missing 5 tournaments, 4 of them Masters 1000 events, Indian Wells, Miami, Monte Carlo, and Madrid, as well as the ATP 500 in Doha, where he was set to compete next week alongside Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic. This absence will shake up his stronghold at the top of the ATP rankings, where he currently holds an authoritative lead after an outstanding 2024 and his recent Australian Open title. A total of 1,600 points will be deducted from his ranking, reducing his tally from 11,830 to 10,230 by the time he returns at the Masters 1000 in Rome, a golden opportunity for his rivals to close the gap or even claim the number 1 spot. Alongside Alexander Zverev, who is second with 8,135 points, Carlos Alcaraz poses the biggest threat to the Italian. The Spaniard currently has 7,510 points, a number that could increase significantly in the coming weeks. His early exit in Rio last year and absence from Monte Carlo leave him with plenty of room to add crucial points in the upcoming tournaments. This gives Alcaraz a significant opportunity to close the gap with Sinner in the ATP rankings, especially with the Italian unable to defend his points due to suspension. While the Spaniard currently sits at 7,510 points, his potential to accumulate new points in the next few months makes the race for number 1 more competitive than expected. In total, Alcaraz has the chance to earn up to 3,600 points, an almost impossible feat, as he would need to win consecutive titles in Doha, Indian Wells, Miami, Monte Carlo, Barcelona, and Madrid. Winning all these tournaments would not only be a monumental achievement but also a statement of dominance on the tour. Given the physical and mental demands of such a grueling stretch, achieving this clean sweep would be an extraordinary accomplishment, but not entirely out of reach for the talented Spaniard. If he manages to achieve this perfect run, he would reach 11,110 points, nearly 1,000 more than Sinner's projected total of 10,230 when he returns at the Masters 1000 in Rome. This would give Alcaraz a serious chance of reclaiming the number 1 spot before the French Open, shifting the power dynamic at the top of men's tennis. This unexpected turn of events fuels the race for the number 1 ranking at a time when Sinner seemed to be in complete control. The Italian's remarkable start to 2024, highlighted by his Australian Open victory, made it appear as though he would maintain his dominance for the foreseeable future. However, his suspension has opened the door for his closest rivals, particularly Alcaraz, who now has an incredible window of opportunity. Alcaraz's aggressive playing style, physical endurance, and ability to perform on different surfaces make him a serious contender to capitalize on Sinner's absence. His past successes on clay, combined with his strong performances on hard courts, suggest that he could make a deep run in each of these tournaments. However, he will face strong competition from players like Novak Djokovic, Daniil Medvedev, and Alexander Zverev, all of whom are also vying for crucial points. Ultimately, the coming months will be decisive in determining whether Sinner can hold on to his number 1 ranking upon his return or if Alcaraz, or another contender, will have overtaken him. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. Here at Tennis Zone, we are dedicated to bringing you the best content for the best audience. We offer in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and comprehensive coverage of everything related to the tennis world. Join our community and be part of the excitement of the tournaments with us. Additionally, at Tennis Zone, we strive to provide you with up-to-date, high-quality content on players, tournaments, strategies, and the most relevant events in the world of tennis.